To this now, the Women's Junior Hockey World Cup, which was scheduled for this month, has been postponed. This after the COVID-19 variant Omicron discovery. Now, the tournament was meant to be held in South Africa, and to find out what the next step is, we're joined by SA Hockey Association CEO Marissa Langeni via Skype. A very good afternoon, Marissa. I want to start with this postponement of the Junior Women's World Cup in South Africa, which is a first, by the way, on African soil. It's just such a very sore point, and due to the Omicron variant, how has the hockey fraternity received this? I know although that the International Federation called the final verdict, what were the focal points Hockey SA highlighted as strong motivation for the event to possibly still go on?
Good evening. Yes, as you've highlighted, a huge disappointment for us as a national association. I think that when the news broke with the new Omicron variant, we knew that we had a challenge that we would need to mount with the international hockey community. So immediately when the news broke, we informed the International Hockey Federation. Clearly, they already had this on their radar, as international news travels fast, as we know. And a discussion then ensued as to the viability of the tournament still taking place. And while that discussion was happening, a number of international governments obviously reacted to the news and started issuing travel bans into the southern African parts of the continent. So immediately we knew that we would be in trouble. Teams would not be able to get into South Africa. And most importantly, post the tournaments, they would not be able to travel home. So those were the biggest considerations that were taken to heart by the International Hockey Federation. A decision was then made late Friday to then rather put the event on hold at this stage. From what we understand, there will still be a discussion on new dates for the tournament to take place, and that conversation will be happening in the second week of December.
We've got strict health measures in South Africa and a very good bio bubble. I'm just thinking, is this still feasible to have the tournament in South Africa?
Most certainly. I think we've been at the forefront of hosting events previously in our country. We've been able, especially as South African hockey, to hold a bubble. Yes, there are risks that comes with the bubble itself, but if all the teams are committed to the process and if all the teams follow the protocols that are put in place, we can certainly host the event safely. But the conversation is, are countries comfortable traveling to our part of the world? And I think we've been hearing it in the last couple of hours, how the variant has now moved across the globe. So to run away from it or thinking not coming to South Africa is running away from the variant is not the solution. We need to find ways to work around the variants, and there will be other variants in the future. Sport needs to find a way to work around that and to still continue. And hosting a bubble with strong protocols is one of the solutions that we can all look at.
Marissa, you've said it. We've got vaccinations made available all across the world. Could this not be the determining factor for the Junior World Cup taking place? But another element to consider, as you have mentioned, is the strict travel restrictions. Is this a losing battle?
That's unfortunately not in our hands, and that is the biggest stumbling block at this particular point in time. When you hear of countries saying, South Africa is now back on the red list, that Southern African countries are back on the red list, it's very concerning for us as a country. And I think for all sports codes that are looking to either travel internationally to perform or to host international events on our shores, this is a massive issue of concern. As it is currently, we have other tournaments that are on our radar. In January, we are meant to be traveling to Ghana for the Africa Cup of Nations, which is a World Cup qualifier tournament for our teams. In February, we are scheduled to attend the Indoor World Cup tournament taking place in Belgium. So we are watching this space very closely. We're watching the red lists of the various countries, and this is a very big concern for us as a country.
Marissa, always great chatting to you. That was South Africa Hockey Association CEO Marissa Langeni, of course, chatting to us about the postponement of the Women's Junior Hockey World Cup, which was scheduled for South Africa, a first on African soil. I hope we have more positive news coming up in the next few weeks.